Buddy, welcome to the teacher feature for the International Herb Symposium. And I'm super excited to have Cory Pine Shane here, who recently published a book. I don't know, it's been what, 2 years now? Not so recent.
Uh, Almost 4 years now.
Oh, almost 4 years now.
Strong.
So that's awesome. The Southeast Medicinal Plants of the Southeast. Is that right? Did I get it
That's
right?
correct.
And is it through Timber Press?
It is, yeah. So there's the book, Southeast Medicinal Plants. Just happen to have it nearby.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's just a coincidence. Um, but Timber Press did like a series where they did like medicinal plants of like different parts of the country, and I wrote the book for the Southeast.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. And so of course you'll be bringing them to the International Herb Symposium to
Definitely.
to sell. Um, so glad that you're coming. You've been a long time member of United Plant Savers. Your school's been a long time member of the Partners in Education program. You're not far from Ohio in the Asheville area of North Carolina. And the class that you're going to be sharing with everybody is on disaster herbalism. So maybe you can dive into that and talk a little bit more about what you hope to share in that class.
Sure. Yeah, so the class is based upon my experience after Hurricane Helene hit Western North Carolina. Um, I've also done some other disaster herbalism, some other places, starting with New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. But I feel like there's a different type of herbal medicine that we practice in disaster situations. And with climate change and climate disasters becoming like more common, and us having to be more reliant on the communities that we live in, there's like possibly like less help from outside sources. We're having to like learn how to take care of ourselves, how to like actually be in community and be to some extent self-sufficient. So the class itself is about how do we create and connect community before a disaster? How do we gather together after an event has happened, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's uh, some other kind of situation that's like happened in our place, um, as well as like how do we as individual herbalists support people from afar, whether it's something like Standing Rock or some other kind of clinic like the LA wildfires or a hurricane in a different part of the country. How do we as herbalists support people without having to actually like go there and be part of the clinic? So we'll talk about specific herbs, but we'll also talk about how to package those herbs, like what herbs to choose. Um, how do we send support from afar, and how do we gather together our community where we're at to create resilient structures? It's kind
Yeah.
of an overview.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it was, fun. We were talking earlier about how we both, found our way to the Rainbow Gathering at like a really, young age in our lives. And I know for me, and that we share this common friend, Aslan,
Yeah.
who is a big figure, I guess, in the rainbow community and family. And um I just remember, I don't know, I was probably 14 when I 14, maybe 15, when I found my way to a small regional rainbow gathering and um, saw some fire off in the woods where people were, brewing herbal tea and just sitting around the fire and like having tea in the forest. I feel like that was such a transformational experience, and that like simplicity of I don't know, just the most basic like human connection to plants, to be around fire brewing tea. But I feel like that really set me off on my like herbal journey, and also um being on tour with the Grateful Dead and meeting, elders that were elders to me on tour who, taught me about plants, taught me about crystals, talked to me about different ways of like experiencing the world. And um I don't know, had a super big influence on my life. But I feel like more than anything, like the Grateful Dead really taught me about community and how you help others who are in need. And like, after the show, everybody's kind of winding down and maybe someone needs a ride or someone got hurt in the parking lot or like, somebody's dog got, run over or so just like crazy stuff, right? But people would like come together and what do you need? How can we support you? And um I feel like I'm, so grateful for having had those experiences. And I feel like in this crazy time, a lot of times, maybe maybe people don't have that kind of like network, or like or people are open to receiving help. I mean, it's like it's all that kind of package. Um, so I feel like it's a really important topic for herbalists and for, everybody in general, right? To like, not be reacting to what's happened, but to have a plan and to think about um how to react. And also, I don't know, it's, not just, I mean, it's all kinds of situations we're put into where we have to like think about how we're going to react in a situation, right? Like
Right,
coming across a car accident,
right.
you
And
know.
I do a lot of teaching about herbal first aid as well, and that's a big piece of it is like, how are you prepared before you're into this situation?
Yeah.
How are you prepared, like for like weeks or months ahead of time? Like, what do you already have with you before you all of a sudden come upon like a car accident or a person who's been injured and all that? So, yeah, my first training in herbal first aid started at rainbow gatherings. Like I worked at a herbal first aid station in at a rainbow gathering in Ithaca, New York, alongside Seven Song, like well loved and known herbalist, in 1990, which was a long time ago. We won't mention the number about how long ago that was. It was a while ago, and yeah, that's my first experience. And I think that and I haven't been to a rainbow gathering in a few years, but I think what rainbow gatherings and disaster herbalism have in common is that um, you're entering a scene of chaos and you have to be your own organization. You have to be organized within yourself, you have to be organized with the people you're working with, that there's not a structure, an authority, a set of rules that you're following handed down from the outside. We are setting up our own structures and our own set of rules. Because entering into a disaster area where I mean, thinking about Asheville after the hurricane, there was like no cell phones. All the cell phone towers were down, so you couldn't communicate so easily. There's no running water, there's no electricity. So how do you practice herbalism in that space? And I think, as you were saying it, part of it is just beginning before the disaster, like beginning like right now, like who is around you? Who is your community? Who is your herbal community? Who are your neighbors? We had to rely a lot on like who our neighbors were, like who literally lives next to you and what are their skills and who on your road owns a chainsaw or has a earth moving machine or whatever. Um, so I think that so much of our community these days is online. But what happens when you don't have access to online community? What happens when you don't need someone online? You need someone to like come by and get the tree out of your driveway.
Right.
Like we need to remember like our in-person community,
Yeah.
direct, who is in direct connection with you, who can you directly support and who can directly support you. And one of the reasons that I'm talking about mutual aid, I feel like the word mutual aid gets used a lot and sometimes improperly. Um, I heard, I was watching a news report like last week and they were talking about how like the police and the government were like in a mutual aid agreement with each other. I'm like, that's not mutual aid. That's not what mutual aid. Um, when I say mutual aid, or when we say use this word mutual aid, there's this idea of us supporting us. What I love about this is that it's not altruism and it's not hierarchical. I'm saying it's not altruism because it's not like, oh, look at these poor people, we're going to go help them. Um, it is us supporting us. We support our community, knowing that our community will also support us. We are all supporting each other. Just like it's not altruistic to clean a house that you live in with other people, right? We all contribute to the. If you live in a household of people, everyone contributes, hopefully, to the health and well-being of the household. And in a community, we all contribute to the health and well-being of the community. So that's the first piece. The second piece of mutual aid is that it's not, the phrase I heard a lot in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. I was working with the Common Ground Health Clinic, and Common Ground had a saying that's been adopted, I've heard a lot, called solidarity, not charity.
Mm.
So instead of coming in as, I mean, I was coming in from the outside, but it wasn't about coming in as like, um, in a charitable way of like, oh, these poor people, I'm going to like come in and generously offer my help. It's like, oh, here are these people that are the same as me, and we're going to work together. I'm going to listen to what their needs are, um, and what their desires are, and where is the best place to set up a clinic, and who needs the most help. And then from that, we're going to work together to create solutions. So it's more of on par with each other rather than like a coming in from above as like a government agency or Red Cross might do. It's like
Mm.
us helping us.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I guess before we wrap up this interview, maybe just say a little bit about your school and where you're located and all those other details.
The thing, yes. Yeah, no problem, Susan. So I run the Blue Ridge School of Herbal Medicine. I keep saying Asheville, North Carolina, but we're actually located in Barnardsville. So it's a small town, about a half hour north of the actual like city of Asheville. But it means that we're out in the woods, up in a holler, as we say. um, the school is on 2.5 acres, and we have amazing medicinal plants just growing all around. There's like black cohosh in abundance on the land, bloodroot, Solomon seal, all kinds of amazing plants growing just like right there. Um, and it is an in-person school. As more and more schools have gone online, I've stayed, and my school has stayed really committed to teaching in person, helping people actually meet the plants and connect directly with the plants and have that more intimate connection. And then having a sense of community in the classroom where we're all together in one space, learning together, growing together, eating lunch together. Um, there's a lot you can learn online. There's a lot of information you can learn online. But I feel like the Blue Ridge School also offers an experience of what we can do when we're like together in one space. Oh, and the second piece I should mention too is that we do a lot of Chinese medicine. Like
Mm.
one of the focuses of the school really is to have, we learn about Chinese medicine philosophy, but then we learn how to use the local plants within that philosophical and diagnostic framework. So I've been inspired by people like Michael Tierra, Christopher Hobbs, David Winston, Thomas Avery Guerin. Those have been some of my inspirations for really figuring out ways to use local plants like black cohosh, blue cohosh, wild yam, ginseng, but within the framework of looking at clients and seeing, okay, is this person more hot? Are they more cold? Do they have more of an excess type condition where I want to like clear things out? Or are they more deficient? And really what I want to do is like build them up and nourish. And I find that philosophical diagnostic structure is really helpful for getting to um, making better clinical choices and really helping people make food and herbal choices that are more supportive of their overall health, creating better balance and not just treating, pathogens as they arise, but really finding balance within the body is the real goal of Chinese medicine.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's great. I guess we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks for chatting with me today, and I really look forward to your class.
Ah, I'm excited to be there. Looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing you in Cincinnati, Susan.